A lot of complaints have been cropping up recently, both within the music industry and among its critics, on the strange relationship of big business and rock and roll.
People from time to time talk about the music business and say, oh, it's not very healthy now, or there's not as good music as when I was a kid or something. But I think it's always pretty good. Yeah, as its bad moments, like anything, but it seems to me very healthy at the moment. Millions of great new acts coming out, great new songs, you know. Can't complain.
How about record company control over musical creativity? Does that enter into the picture at all with a superstar group like Wings? A group that recently commanded a breakthrough multi-million-dollar contract?
You're in a group and you make music. It doesn't matter what the record people do. I mean, the thing is, when I started off in it, records weren't that big an affair because people didn't sell a lot of albums, really. As things progressed, albums started to be really big money earners for people, so the business grew. But we don't get involved in that end of it. We just make the music, and if it goes, it goes.
Besides recent record company contract deals, Paul McCartney has been getting into another money-minded area of interest.
When you make some money, you know, you have to either pay it over in tax or you've got to do something with it. That's the thing governments kind of force you to do, you know. So with my stuff, like, I could either go and do stuff that was not connected with me, like some people do. You know, they get a factory over here that makes brushes or something, you know, and they sort of get involved in that as a tax thing. But I was asked what I wanted to get into, and I just said, well, you know, I'd like to keep it as near music as possible. And I was asked who I liked, and I said, well, I like Buddy Holly. And what happened was, he was very lucky, really, because his publishing company was being sold in New York, and our business people in New York, who happens to be Linda's dad, said, well, he thought it would be a good thing to do, you know. So I took his advice, like, and we did it. And it's amazing, because it means, like, it's a business thing, and yet, for me, it isn't really, you know, because it's just like a great hobby. And it's just amazing to see how it's gone on since we got it.
Buddy Holly's music is a long-time favorite of McCartney's. The last couple of years have seen an especially strong surge of Holly songs hitting the market, covered by today's top artists.
Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye. Why does our love just stay in my memory? It's so easy to fall in love. It's so easy to fall in love.
Along with the sudden popularity comes the interest in background and detail. And that's not too easy for anyone other than the artist who lived through the music to recreate the music.
It's weird, because there's only 4 people who know what went on in the Beatles. Even, no matter how close you were to the thing, the minute you weren't actually part of the 4 people who were going through it, you can't know, really, because there's so much just happens off the camera or off the microphone, which is all the real stuff, you know. So unless the 4 people sit down, or unless Buddy Holly was able, before he died, to, like, sit down and write his story, unless it comes exactly from the horse's mouth, they're always a bit wrong, you know, because there's always the scriptwriter's license. When you were young.
Rather than give someone outside of Wings the chance to play around and possibly scramble some important script details, McCartney and Wings have their own venture into the world of film planned.
Well, we're doing, instead of kind of having a film about historical thing about what's happening, we're working on a script at the moment with, which is like a sort of acting film where we play something close to what we are, you know, which is like a band on the run. I think it's going to be called Band on the Run. It's very much about what we are, but it's fiction, you know. But it's an acting film for us. So that's something we probably will be getting into this autumn, I think. We were planning it for this autumn, which that would be a laugh, you know, to do. But I think the minute you try and say very exactly what someone's life was about, whether it's the Beatles, Buddy Holly, Glenn Miller, Red Nichols, or any of Lead Belly, there's always someone who'll come up and say, wait a minute, I knew the guy, he never talked like that at all. Or he never did that song, so-and-so wrote it, you know, and there's always the real story lurking behind the film story.
With everyone in the band contributing recording and songwriting ideas, can the meaning of a McCartney song somehow get mixed up? Paul says that part of a tune isn't necessarily there in the first place.
See, I mean, if you think about it, you know, I mean, all I'm doing is, like, I'm a songwriter, and it's my job, you know, so I write songs, some of them mean stuff, some of them don't mean stuff, some of them are just sound records, some of them I want to get a message across. I think the very obvious message ones people get. And the only political excursion I ever made in music was a song called Give Ireland Back to the Irish.
Give Ireland back to the Irish. Don't make them have to take it away. Give Ireland back to the Irish.
I wrote that the day after there'd been a big thing in Northern Ireland where some people had been killed and they were innocent people. And it was my government, you know, I felt very British and I felt my government was killing these Irish people. And up until then, I'd never thought of our government as being that kind of a thing. It must be the same kind of feeling some people got when America got into Vietnam. You could say that Listen to What the Man Said is a religious song, but when I was writing it, I never thought of it as that. But a man could be Jesus, or it could just as easily be, I don't know, your father, or it could be your best mate, or it could be anybody, you know. Yeah, you know, anyone talking positive is the man.
Paul McCartney reacts to the fans' demand for a Beatles reunion in the next segment of the Wings special on KHJ.